All right, let's do some Mathity-Math. Says here, a shop sells 12 hot dogs and 20 bottles of soda for every baseball cap sold. Write an expression to determine the total number of items sold. So in essence here they want us to write an expression, and it says to determine the total of number of items sold. And so this is an interesting question because this expression wants to tell the story, but we actually don't know the details of the story because we don't know how many of what has been sold. So we need to write an expression that will always tell the story no matter what happens, okay? So we're going to assume that this ratio always holds true, that whenever this shop sells one baseball cap, then coincidentally 12 hot dogs get sold and 20 bottles of soda get sold. So let's work with this. So I'm just going to make a little diagram here to maybe help us kind of see what's happening. So this is baseball hats, and I'm going to write one. Okay, that's one baseball hat. And when that happens, then we know that something happens with the hot dogs, that 12 hot dogs get sold. And then we also know that 20 bottles of sodas get sold. Okay, and so a mistake here that sometimes gets made is that we want to put in variables 1b, 12h, and 20s. And that could be good if we were trying to find like a weight or a value that happens per one of these, but that's actually not what happens because we're actually just looking for the total number of items sold. So we're not going to jump in there and put some variables in. But because we're looking for the total number of items sold, I will go ahead and draw a line here and say to myself, well, when this first thing happens, when one baseball hat was sold, I did end up with 33 items sold. Let's work with this. Okay, let's just pretend it was a better day and actually 2 baseball hats got sold. Okay, cool. So 2 baseball hats got sold. Well, if 2 baseball hats got sold, that would mean 24 hot dogs and then 40 sodas. And that would give us 66, right? Because everything doubled. Let's do one more and maybe we'll kind of catch on here. What if 3 baseball hats sold? Well, then this would bump up to 36 and this would go to 60. And now we sold 99 items. And what we can see here is that everything kind of depends on how many baseball hats got sold. But we don't know how many baseball hats got sold. We have no idea. And in algebra, when we don't know what something is or when we don't know what happens, we represent that as x. And when we represent it as x, that's kind of leaving space for anything to happen. Whatever happens, we just make that x. So what we're going to say here is actually, instead of giving b a number, we're going to say that b is x. And I'll just put that. Let me just scoot down a little bit. So I'm going to say that for our baseball hats, I'm going to represent with this x. And this x is my baseball hats. I'll just write hats. Okay? Okay. And so now it's x. Now let's go look at this hot dog thought right here, right? So we had 1 hat sold and 12 hot dogs. And then we had 2 hats sold and 24 hot dogs. And the math you did there was you did 2 times 12. And then when you had 36 hot dogs, you actually did 3 times 12. So you can see you're just multiplying how many hats you sold by that 12 hot dogs. But again, now we're saying, well, hats is x. So what you're saying is you're just multiplying it by x. Right? And when x is 1, you get 12. When x is 2, you get 24. When x is 3, you get 36. And this is how we generate this expression that will always tell the story. Same thing here for sodas. You just say 20x because it's kind of multiplying by the number of hats sold. So again, if you sold 1, well, 20 times 1, that's 20 because x was 1. Well, what if x is 2? Well, 20 times 2, you get 40. And so that's hats. This is hot dogs. And this was sodas. And so now you see for your expression, you actually only have one variable. Because you only have one variable, they are considered like terms, and we can add those up. And so your expression is just a very simple and elegant 33x. There you go. All right. If you want some more practice, please subscribe. I'm always making new problems every day, and I'd love for you to have access to those. And if there's a problem you want, leave me a comment below and I'll make it for you. Okay, thanks.